The chase for 8 straight continues today for Team USA women's basketball. That would be 8 consecutive gold medals in a row at the Olympic Games. A Paris primer on this Thursday and a ton of great action to break down for you. Round number 1 of the men's golf tournament already underway. We'll show you what the leaderboard is and break down the odds in just a moment. But we start with Team USA taking on Belgium today in women's hoops. Of course, it was the Americans off to an early and easy start against Japan. They blew out the Japanese by 26 points. They covered as a 22.5-point favorite. Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart just far too much for Japan down low. 24 points, 13 boards out of Asia Wilson. Stewie added in 22 and 8. 22.5 is the number once again in favor of the United States with a total of 165.5 now against Belgium. Donnie, will it be another emphatic victory for the U.S.?
Yeah, I do believe so. And also, keeping up with the Joneses, as we like to say. You know, Team USA women's basketball team is watching the men here handling their business. They want to do exactly the same thing because the goal is to have both of those teams on the podium raising the gold medal here while the Star-Spangled Banner does play. I expect another great performance. And also, like Belgium, great soccer, great waffles, great basketball, not so much. Not so much.
It is interesting, though. They do have a player who is currently categorized as a WNBA rookie, Julie Van Loo, who is one of the leading assist players in the WNBA that plays for the Washington Mystics. She's 31 years old. She played her college basketball at Iowa State, but of course played internationally in Europe. This is her first season in the W. She is the point guard for Belgium. 22.5 is that number. Donnie, we talked about some of the points props that caught our eye earlier for the Americans in the opener against Team Japan. The actual props themselves not listed, but we can look at what the numbers say for 20-plus points, 15-plus points, all of that good stuff. Asia Wilson, minus 166 to score 20-plus might be worth the bet. I would still look at somebody like Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, plus 350, plus 520, and when the odds become available, the point guard for Las Vegas in the prop category, that being the assists, Chelsea Gray, who had 12 dimes in the opener for the U.S. against Japan, that's going to be an area I automatically circle.
Yeah, and also in the last game, Team USA did not shoot the three-point shot legitimately well. One person did. That was Ionescu at a minus 125 price today to make 2 or more three-point shots. I think that's legitimate. But also, I think you can buy low. Plum to make 2 three-point shots, plus 120. Brandon Stewart, plus 150. Asia Wilson at a plus 550 price. I look for a better performance as a team from three-point range. But I'll back Sabrina again. I think she can knock down 2 three-point shots, and I'll lay the juice at minus 125.
Had 11 points, 3 of them from 3 in the opener against Japan. There was a couple of other players outside of Stewie and Wilson that scored in double figures. BG had 11. Kelsey Plum had 11. So did Sabrina Ionescu. Of course, BG is Brittany Griner. All right, round number 1 at the men's Olympic golf tournament underway. And Hideki Matsuyama, of course, a former Masters winner representing Japan, off to a great start. 8 under at Le Golf National, firing an opening round 63. And the summer of Xander continues. Xander Schauffele tied for second right now alongside Mexico's Carlos Ortiz. Both players at 6 under. Xander 6 under through his first 17 holes. One more hole to go in his opening round in a tie for second at the moment.
And the Terminator sitting there lying in wait, tied for 8th. Scotty Scheffler, a 4 under 67, round number 1, always lurking there in competition. But how about that? Matsuyama, 8 under 63. That is really impressive to get your Olympics started off in the right direction. We'll see who. Gold, silver, and bronze. You know Scotty Scheffler is going to be in there come Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. So the odds now not out right now, at least as I see them at the Indiana FanDuel Sportsbook, but we've got the individual all-around in women's gymnastics. After a disappointing summer in Tokyo, will Simone Biles win another all-around gold medal, or will it be the reigning all-around gold medal winner for Team USA, Suni Lee? That is this afternoon, starting a little bit after noon Eastern time. For swimming finals today, the women's 200-meter breaststroke, women's 200-meter butterfly, women's 4x200-meter free relay. Katie Ledecky back in the pool looking for her 13th Olympic medal. If she gets that, the most decorated U.S. female Olympian in the history of the Olympiad. The most medals ever. She's already got 12. She's got 8 golds. Gilbert McGregor from Sporting News joins us up next, live right here on the early line, to look back at Team USA in men's basketball and forward at women's hoops. Up next, a hardwood handicap for the action in the Olympiad over in Paris, live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. A recap and a breakdown of yesterday's result. The American men, a perfect 2-0 in group play with a victory over South Sudan, and a preview of game number 2 for the Team USA on the women's side against Belgium later this afternoon. Gilbert McGregor from Sporting News joins us live right here on this Thursday to do all of that. Gilbert, we appreciate the time. Thanks for being here on the early line.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, Ben.
So we start with the men's action yesterday. Game number 2 of group play for Team USA against the South Sudan team that, of course, gave the Americans a big scare in that exhibition series, only losing by 1. That was the South Sudanese as a 40-plus point underdog. And yesterday, Gilbert, booked as a 28.5-point underdog. South Sudan did record the cover, 103-86. The Americans, though, improved to a perfect 2-0 over in Paris. Both wins by a comfortable margin, 17 over South Sudan, 26 over Serbia on Sunday. What is your main takeaway from win number 2 for Team USA over South Sudan?
You know, first of all, big credit to South Sudan. I thought that the 28.5-point spread was a lot, given what we've seen from that team, and they proved me right in hanging in there with Team USA. There was a time where they could have folded, and they hung around. I think that they have a chance to advance to the quarterfinals because of that. With Team USA, I see a team that's still figuring it out, still learning each other. It's important to remember that they've been together for less than 4 weeks. There are a lot of times in the half court where you see that they're still struggling a little bit to kind of learn one another. But those guys off the bench, be it Bam Adebayo, Derek White, really are stepping up and punishing other teams because nobody has the depth that Team USA has. And that's really been the difference and will continue to be the difference as they continue their pursuit for a 5th straight gold.
Gilbert, as we take a look at that game, too, we'll get into some of these statistics that these players had. A lot of players scoring in double digits, which is great to see. Yeah. Tatum doesn't play one game, and Embiid doesn't play the next game. Do you read anything into this, or are they just trying to get their rotations down before they get to the knockout stage?
I see a little bit of both, right? It's something good for us to be able to talk about, but it's interesting because different matchups require different rotations. And I know Steve Kerr kind of talked about the speed and athleticism of South Sudan and how that's a little bit difficult for a player like Joel Embiid. I think there's also an element of him having a checkered injury past and probably playing it safe when with respect to him and his workload out there in Paris. That being said, I do think they're still trying to figure things out and perfect that rotation. Again, Steve Kerr is learning this team on the fly as well. So, you know, you only have 6 games to really figure it out. They have 2 down, and if they want to get to the gold medal game, it's 4 to go. So you really don't have much time to get it together. So things will seem drastic like that for sure.
Nunio Mott for South Sudan, the game's leading scorer with 24 points. The team high for Team USA actually came off the bench. That was Bam Adebayo. He had 18 points and 7 boards. Kevin Durant pouring in 14. Gilbert, the rotations have, of course, been dissected, as we are alluding to here, that Steve Kerr has led with in the Olympics, of course, in the exhibition series. But yesterday, it wasn't the starting 5. It was the bench players, led by KD, that made all the difference. What did you make of how the bench performed yesterday for Team USA?
It's kind of a continuation of a trend that we've seen from Team USA. They did it during the exhibition schedule, and even though Anthony Davis got inserted into the starting lineup, you know, that second unit still really held serve like it did. You know, we talk about Bam Adebayo stepping out and hitting 3-pointers, I'm sure Heat fans are excited to see. Talk about Kevin Durant being arguably greatest player to represent Team USA in Olympic history. And again, Derek White, a guy who I expect to make every single open 3-pointer that he gets. And he's just all over the place, whether it's blocking shots, getting back tap steals. It's a very perfect utility unit that knows their roles and knows exactly how to play off of one another. And they've kind of figured out the chemistry a little bit quicker than that starting unit has. And let me not forget Anthony Edwards as well, who had big moments off the bench too.
Also, when we're taking a look at the gold medal, obviously silver medal, bronze medal, the goal is to win a medal, but Team USA obviously wants the gold overall. They're a heavy favorite at a minus 550 price right now here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. If we are looking overall, Canada, Germany, Serbia, and France, are there any teams, and we've asked this quite a bit here so far this week, has anybody impressed you so far that maybe coming into the Olympics you didn't think might be able to get to that podium? And also, any teams that you're looking at right now that you're taking a look at, Gilbert, that say, I don't know if this team's as good as I actually thought they were, maybe they get a slight downgrade?
You know what? There haven't been really any surprises as far as teams that have performed better than I expected them to perform. But I do want to double down on the support and the way that I've thought that Germany is a really good team. This is a team that won the Basketball World Cup last year. Their NBA quartet of guys, Dennis Schroeder, the Wagner brothers, and Daniel Tice, they really play well off of one another. And their non-NBA guys are really good. And these guys, you can tell they've been playing with one another for a very long time. So I think about Germany. I know Canada is the flashy pick. They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They look really good. Spain has been a little bit impressive. Santi Aldama is a guy in that Spanish national team program. They kind of get behind their one guy and push. So, there's some teams who are very strong team units that if they have a hot shooting night could upset a team that has more talent or more NBA talent.
All 12 countries in the Olympic pool in men's basketball have now completed 2 games in group play, 4 unbeatens. Canada, a perfect 2-0 in Group A to lead that group. In Group B, both the Germans and the host nation, Victor Wembanyama and France, off to a 2-0 start. And, of course, Team USA, a perfect 2-0 in Group C. Gilbert, to your point about Germany, right now a plus 130 price on the Germans to see the medal podium in men's basketball. I do like that number as of right now. Let's transition to the women's basketball tournament at the Paris Olympic Games. It is game number 2 for Team USA today against Belgium. They handled Japan in the opener, winning by 26, 102-76, even covering as a 22.5-point favorite. Same spread today, 22.5 in favor of the Americans against the Belgians. The total on the rise to 165 and a hook. What is the thing you want to see most out of Team USA today?
I want to see a better shooting effort from the team. They shot 4 of 20 from three-point range against Japan. And that really is what allowed Japan to hang around longer than people probably expected them to. Japan has a very interesting play style. They like to run, they like to shoot, and they were hitting shots, and Team USA wasn't hitting shots. But ultimately, having A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart on the interior, 2 best players in the world, the size advantage that they give them is going to be the difference for Team USA every game. So I fully expect them to reprise that role against Belgium, but I also expect them to get going from the perimeter. This is important to note that this Belgium team only lost to Team USA by 2 a few months ago. Granted, A'ja Wilson didn't play. The game was played in Belgium, but I'm sure that will be on Team USA's mind. They won't take this team lightly, and they're still figuring things out as well. So I expect them to be on a mission to kind of make a statement here as they continue to pursue gold again.
Gilbert, we expect dominance there, certainly from both the men's and the women's team. Let me ask you this question moving forward with the women's tournament. Is there going to be a game where Team USA does not win by double digits from now right up to the gold medal game, in your opinion?
You know what, Donnie, that's a great question. I was wondering the same thing coming into this tournament, and I don't think so yet. I think the rest of the world is catching up with their WNBA talent. We're seeing a team like Germany who has numerous WNBA players, and they're making their presence felt at the Olympics. But I think that maybe 4 years from now, we'll see some closer games. The rest of the world is starting to catch up, but they're not there just yet because Team USA just has too much talent. The best, 4 or 5 players in the world are all on the same team, and that's really hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Gilbert. I look forward to seeing what the spreads are in favor of the United States once we reach the medal round. Technically, their most competitive games, but Team USA, a minus 3,000 favorite, entering the second day of action in women's basketball to win an 8th consecutive gold medal. Something to pay attention to. Nigeria takes on the host country, France, a little bit later, really in just about a half an hour. Nigeria, 15.5-point underdog. They beat Australia outright in their Olympic opener. Keep an eye on that spread. Gilbert McGregor from Sporting News, breaking everything down in the Olympic basketball tournaments on this Thursday. Gilbert, we greatly appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.